I just wasn't prepared. It's I'm
Sorry,
good.
I think they were trying to see. But look, it's a fun surprise. Here we are.
It is actually it's a really good surprise. I'm super happy to talk with you. You've been a favorite writer of mine for a while, so it's cool to talk with you about Project Hail Mary. I mean, I love this movie. It's a lot of fun. You already adapted The Martian. Was there any unique challenges to moving on and doing another Andy Weir?
Yeah, quite honestly, when Andy sent me the book, there was part of me that was worried about sort of uh, recapturing old glory.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just, we had such a wonderful experience on The Martian. I didn't want to just do it for the sake of doing it, but I love him as a writer. So I said, okay, fine, send it to me. I'll read it. And I read it and was just captivated by it. And I, about halfway through, I remember thinking, oh crap, I'm going to do this because I fell in love with the book so hard. But part of my concern was that it's a really challenging book. It's got all the things that make for a wonderful movie. It's got this beautiful scope and scale, this exquisite soul, but most of the movie is between a human and an alien. The alien can't exist in our atmosphere. The alien doesn't have a face, speaks in whale songs, like all of these things that work pretty well on a page, but when you have to figure out how to do them, in real life, in movies, get real challenging very quickly. So I was scared, but I also knew I loved it so much, and I also knew the challenge would make it um, worth trying at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine between both, I mean, one of the things I like about both The Martian and Project Hail Mary, and even Artemis, which I know I don't think you're attached with, but I know, but even the
But I know it
book,
well. Yeah,
yeah, but the book for that. But the thing I like about it is that, in the books, you can get a lot of the sciencey stuff explained to you, but you have to show it on the screen rather than, just hit people over the head with a bunch of technobabble because then no people won't dig that. Talk to me about, finding the right way to get that across to audiences in an entertaining way.
I know. Look, it's one of the things that was scary. It was scary back on The Martian, but I remember back then saying, look, I just love reading this. When I read it, it's not like it's technobabble for the sake of technobabble. And he's teaching me things, and he's teaching me
Yeah.
things through story. And look, at the end of the day, that's what I've devoted my life to. I love learning the way I experience the world. I grew up in a town of 3,000 people. Like, it was a small town. The way I learned about the world was through movies, right? And so I always trusted that, look, if I'm interested in this, somebody else will be interested. I wasn't sure how many people were going to be interested with the dense science, but I remember after the first Martian test screening, we were worried, we're waiting for the audience reaction. Everyone was positive we were going to have to dumb it down. The lights came up and they said, no, no, we love the science. We actually love that you are treating us like we're intelligence, like we're intelligent. And even though we don't always understand what's going on, we trust that the movie understands, and we love being part of that. That was something that really resonated with me and sort of gave Andy and I the strength going into this one to say we don't need to, not because we didn't dumb it down on The Martian. This time, though, we had pure resolve about the fact that we didn't need to,
Mm.
and I think that really helped because this is a much more complicated book. Like, anytime you're dealing with physics and planetary travel, and you're going to get yourself into a lot of trouble quickly with dense scientific concepts, and so it was really important for us to say, well, let's just treat it like it's real, and treat the audience like they're smart.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I dig about Weir's writing, and especially in Project Hail Mary with your adaptation, is that it makes science kind of cool, and I think that there's maybe a hunger for audiences to want movies that make science cool again. That's kind of my opinion on it.
I'm right there with you at the risk of sounding right dorky. Science is cool. Like, I think science is cool, and so that's part of this. It's like I actually love learning about this stuff,
Yeah.
and it's why I love Andy's work so much, is that he's an enthusiast for it, and I share that enthusiasm, and we have found that if we put that enthusiasm on the screen, people will come.
Yeah, his characters are like, you know, younger, better looking Mr. Wizards. You know, they do experience for you and make it so that you can understand it. And I dig that about it. Talk to me about, because I imagine this was probably one of the most difficult things, writing for the relationship between Grace and Rocky. And I'll tell you, when I first saw the trailer for the movie, there was this little tiny part of me that was like, I kind of wish they hadn't shown Rocky or introduced Rocky. And I heard a lot of my friends saying the same thing. But then I thought about it and I was like, he's such the heart of this movie to me, like that relationship that ultimately I didn't mind it so much. But what were your initial thoughts about that, about the introduction of Rocky? And then talk to me about writing their relationship.
I remember when I was working on the screenplay, because look, I come from a time where you wouldn't give anything away.
Yeah.
I would prefer it if we didn't have to do any of this and people would just go see the movie because it's a
Yeah.
better way to experience it. As a viewer, I love to not know and just be surprised. So, but I remember writing it thinking, they're going to put Rocky in the trailer eventually. So
Right.
just don't. So don't. The only thing that changed in my writing was don't hinge the story on surprise, if
Mm.
that makes sense.
Hmm.
Just say, like, even if you know that there's an alien in this movie, there's so much more that's going to happen after
Yeah,
that,
that's true.
right? We get to Rocky pretty quick in the movie. And I think part of that was me knowing, this isn't going to be something that we're going to be surprising the audience with. The surprises are going to come fast and furious after that. So that gave me a freedom. To be honest, I think the movie is better because we weren't sort of playing coy with the audience.
Hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Ryan Gosling was attached to this before you were, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Okay. How does that change your writing process? Do you get to write with Ryan Gosling's voice in your head?
Yeah, and it's also Ryan's soul as a safety net, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Because one of the things, I love to switch tones. I love to sort of switch between comedy and drama. I love to deal with, you know, silliness and heartbreak all in the same time. That can be really hard for actors to play because it quite possibly because you just don't get to do it that often, not to this degree. But with Ryan, I knew like if you look at Ryan's resume, there's nothing he can't play, right?
Yeah.
He's comfortable in the broad, he's comfortable in the human, he's comfortable in the terror, he's
And he's
comfortable in
been to space a couple times already.
he's been to space. Like there's just it freed me ultimately. And because I wasn't writing from a place of fear, I was writing from a place of comfort, knowing no matter what I write, he is going to not just be able to do, but take and transcend with it.
Hmm. Uh, I guess my next question is, how do you and Andy work together? Like when you work on these things, because I honestly, I mean, I know somebody's already attached to Artemis, but I can't imagine an Andy Weir adaptation without your voice on it at this point. But talk to me how you two work together when it comes to doing these adaptations.
Yeah, it's a really it's been such a wonderful collaboration now for over a decade between Andy and I. I think it really does start from a place of mutual love
Mm.
for Andy's writing. Like we both love Andy's writing. And so as a result, that makes it easier. I think part of what makes the collaboration good is I'm I'm honest with him about what it's going to take to make a movie. And I always say, look, we're going to have to cut a whole bunch of stuff. That's the nature of adaptation. But I want to protect the soul. So I really focus on what I see as the soul that will make a good movie. Um, I sort of tell Andy at the beginning, I say, here's what I think we will probably have to cut. Here's
Mm.
what we might have to cut. Here's what I want to protect above all else. And that's really the most important part.
Yeah.
Starting with what do I want to protect above everything? Then what we will talk about that at the beginning a lot. Then if once we have a good sense of it, I'll go off in my writing cave and just won't talk to anybody, not just Andy. I don't talk to anybody, and kind of come out when I have a draft done, and then show it to Andy and say, "Okay, how are you feeling?" And then that becomes very much the sort of let's roll up our sleeves and fine tune really till the end of the shoot. And so far, that's been the best process for both of us.
Have you guys run into any, butted heads about anything that one wanted in and one said, no, wait, let's not put this in there?
Andy may have a better recollection than I do on that one. I don't remember us ever butting heads. I remember a lot of times I wrote something stupid scientifically. There's a lot of times where I just made a mistake and he would very kindly correct my mistakes. But we were always in sync on sort of the big picture stuff. If
Yeah.
anything, he just, made me sound a little smarter by fixing my mistakes.
Yeah. I have a number of friends who have either worked for NASA or currently do, and they all seem to love Project Hail Mary. They loved your work on the Martian too. They really seem to love Project Hail Mary. So, and
That
they very rarely complain about the tech stuff too much. So,
that makes me very happy to hear. We definitely have them in mind when we're working on all of this. Whether it was Martian or Hail Mary, they've been such wonderful supporters, both at NASA and JPL at the Jet Propulsion Lab. They've been wonderful, and so much of what we've learned from them has sort of found its way into these works,
hmm.
and so it's very satisfying to hear their support.
So I've seen some teasing about a Project Hail Mary sequel from Andy. You guys talked about that already, man? You gonna drop some news for us, man? What's going on?
I have no news. I mean, I hope tell Andy to start writing. That would be great. As far as I've heard, all I've heard is, "Hey, would anyone want to make a Project Hail Mary sequel?" And then basically everyone says, "Let's just get through this one first."
So,
So
that's usually how it goes. Before we head out, man, I just wanted to just tell you I just restarted watching Buffy again. A longtime favorite, and I started rewatching on the day they said they weren't going to do the new revival. So, but I know you worked on that show and a lot, and it was just an all time favorite of mine, man. Just wanted to say that. So,
Travis, I appreciate you saying, it's you and I are connected in that because I was a fan before I got there,
yeah.
and I see its fingerprints all over everything I've ever done since everything I learned about emotion and genre, I learned at Buffy. And so it's really been fun to see new generations of people discovering it. And it's a show that I will always have close to my heart.
My girlfriend had never seen it, so she's getting a tutorial on that right now, man.
What season are we on?
Where it's just starting. We just started on
Oh,
season one, going all the way through, man.
she is in for a treat.
I
Once
know, roller
we
coaster.
get halfway through season two, that show just goes into the stratosphere.
Well, Drew, man, this has been fantastic. I thank you for your time, and I wish you and everyone the best of luck with Project Hail Mary, which comes out this Friday. Thanks a lot, man.
Travis, this is a joy. Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.